I've been asked to do a survey that asks people if they could visit one place in the world, where would they go? Write a program that stores the responses in a list. The list should grow with each new response. Provide a way for the user to see all the responses to date and to continue asking new people so the list can keep growing. Also, provide a way for the user to quit the program. So in this video, I'm just going to show you how I approached this puzzle, and it may be helpful to beginners, or rather advanced beginners, because sometimes there can be more than meets the eye to a program. It can take a lot longer than maybe you or I would expect. And I've found that one technique to approach problems is to break them down. So here's the breakdown of that question. I tend to kind of start writing, and if the problem kind of starts getting to me and I can't just write it quickly or within a certain time, based on how I feel about the problem, then one of the things I've found to speed up programming is to break down the program into comments. Now there's there's 5 comments in this code here. But what those 5 comments do is they serve as like a skeleton, and they pretty much sum up what this question is asking me to do. And in essence, what this question is asking me to do is it wants me to write a list that can keep on growing depending on user input. So as the respondents to the survey, as their answers happen, the user of the program can enter them into the program, and that data will expand a list. So the list is a growing list of responses. That's the essence of this question. Now for you, me, or somebody else, that might be the hardest part of this problem. But maybe for somebody else, the hardest part would be to provide a way for the user to see all the responses to date and to continue asking new people so that this can keep on growing without actually quitting the program and you having to start the list all over again, right? So there could be more than meets the eyes to a kind of advanced beginner question such as this one. And I will put this into the class of advanced beginner. Perhaps even even a beginner intermediate problem. So I've broken it down into 5 parts here, and notice underneath the comments, this isn't right. If I run this, it won't do what I need it to do. I'll just run it for the sake of doing that, and it comes up with an error, and there's all sorts of little things like that if you were to run this. But the first thing I've done to solve this problem is to put the skeleton in place. Then underneath the comments, I'm not really too concerned with getting the looping of things right or the while looping of things right yet, because I've already tried that in my first chance with this first kind of response with this, which is just like a general bang, 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 see how I go. Okay, I'm feeling that this is a little bit more complicated than I thought. Right, the next thing to do is to create some comments. The next thing to do after that, and you might sort of fiddle around a little bit underneath comments with that a bit more. But then you start getting a little bit more serious, and I actually start to what I do is I actually start to answer the comments. Right, and I kind of like just do it one chunk like this. I do them in chunks, and I know they're not going to fit together right. I mean, this chunk here could go all the way up towards the second part, and this second part could go down here, and it could get all mixed up again. But the point is to answer each comment. So here, ask for user input. Well, that's easy enough. Prompt. I've got here type stop to see a list of survey responses, or quit to exit the program. Right, which relates to the part there where it asks you to stop or continue. So that's easy enough. Prompt. The response equals input. Prompt. Ask for user input. Well, I've asked for the user input here, and I know it's an input. It's going to involve some sort of input, so I'll put that in there. Build a list of responses. Well, it's a list, and it's responses. So responses, make it an open list. And I know I'm going to have to build the list as I go along. So there might be insert, there might be append method, but at this point I just put in insert response, right? Responses dot insert the response from the input up here. Now that might not actually work, but it's giving me it's starting to develop a base of what kind of methods and functions or loops or the absence of loops or I need to think about, and particularly syntax kind of things, methods. Stop building the list when the user enters stop, plus, which to me is end, print out the list upon the users having entered stop. Right, so it has to stop building the list when the user enters stop. So I've got if response equals stop, right? Then print the responses, so print out the list upon the users having entered stop, and then break, because it actually stops building the list. Now, that's not right, as you'll find out soon, but what it does is it's given me the syntax for getting it right. It starts getting me thinking, okay, I'm going to have to probably use a break here, or will it have to be a continue statement? This one here, is it going to be append, insert? Is it going to be -1? There might be a for loop in here, right? Quit the program if the user types quit. Well, if response equals quit break. Okay, that's fine. That's good enough. That's a good little framework. Now from that, I can jiggle it around, and if I still can't get it to work from then, I might go and look at some resources, right? So resources, I might go into W3 Schools, which is I like, and I might look at lists, I might look at remove list items. I might look at lists, or list comprehension. How to append it and all that sort of thing, and the syntax. And I might Google some things. And then what that does is that's going to get me to this stage, right, where I've got the same skeleton here. You might add or subtract to a skeleton, but you're getting closer to a workable program. And so this isn't the final one. I'll show you the final one shortly, but this is very close to this actually working, right? So let's clear the shell. So you can see the difference between, there's no indentation here, there's no while loop, there's no loops. And in this one I've gone, okay, so from when I've answered these, each comment, when I've answered each comment, I've realized, okay, obviously there's loops involved here. And some things have gone up, some things have gone down, like, that's gone under here now, and there's no the response input prompt has gone under here. Ask for user input. Okay, build a list of responses. Responses equals open list. While true, response equals input prompt. Now that's where I've actually asked. That's where I've actually got the user input, right? Then I've appended. I've realized I had to use append and not insert, right? I could use insert maybe, but I've just used append. And instead of being an if and another if, I've used an if else, right? And there's only one break in it, not two, like this first one here. But this one here was very important for me to, like I say, get the syntax, giving me a more closer to precision. Now I'm just trying to fit in loops in this one. So in this one here, if I hit play, it doesn't work. In this one here, if I run it, right, I'll just for the benefit of everyone here, I'll just clear it, just so it makes it neat. So let's run this one and see how I go, right? So run it. Okay, so it's cool. Type stop to see a list of survey responses, or quit to exit program. If you could visit one place in the world, where would you go? All right, so let's say Perth. Let's say Sydney. Let's say Florida, state of Florida in America. Now, you have to always go back to the question. Make sure you're capturing everything. Provide a way for the user to see all the responses to date. So, I've done that. I've said type stop to see a list of survey responses. Alright, so if I press stop now, you see how the list Perth, Sydney and Florida has been captured? But the program hasn't actually stopped yet. The program hasn't exited. The program is still running. So if I add London to this, Berlin and Copenhagen, and I want to see how big the list is now, put in stop. And you have Perth, so it hasn't deleted it, it's actually kept the list, it's growing the list. Perth, Sydney, Florida, stop. London, Berlin, Copenhagen. Right, so I've gotten really close now. I'm almost there. This program's almost working. I've just got to figure out a way to get rid of that stop from appearing. Because here I've got -1, right? Which will delete the first time I run up into things like Perth, Sydney, Florida. Then I put in stop. It didn't show up stop on that one. But because this one, it's got rid of the stop at the end, right? Because I've only got -1 here. So now I've got to figure out how can I get rid of any and all stops that may appear in this list, but still keep the other elements of the list and keep the programming running and keep the list expanding as the responses of where people want to grow. And if I hit quit, it will actually quit. So does quit work? Yes, it does. So quit works. So the only problem I have now is with this bit. Right? And so then I go away and have a look at how you can get, how do you deal with lists? How do you eliminate particular elements from lists? And then, so you get a final working piece here. And in that particular instance, I just had to include another while loop. So while true, and then a while loop within a while loop. And it was just while stop in responses, which is the list up here. While stop in responses is true. Responses dot remove stop. Then print the responses. So let's run this one. I'll just clear the shell so you can see more. So if I go Perth, Darwin, then I put in stop. You just come up with Perth and Darwin, see? Right? And that -1 in the old one, that's gotten rid of the stop appearing on the end there. But that old one's not going to get rid of the stop. If I keep on going and expanding the list, it only gets rid of the last one, but not every single stop. Whereas this new one here, it will get rid of that. So just quickly show you. Moscow and Spain. Right. If I go stop now, it won't include any stops ever again. So Barcelona, and Nepal, and San Antonio. Stop. And it just keeps on expanding the list based on user input without showing the word stop. And of course it will quit. So I hope that helps you. In summary, you get this big question from a client or someone, you go away and have a go at it and you realize it's a bit harder than you think. So you break it down into comments. This is what I do. I break it down into comments, and then I start getting the syntax of each comment right, and then I realize, okay, yep, I need to now loop this in the right way. So then I go into the next level. I might go away and research how do I loop things, and then you get to this level, which in this instance was almost totally right, but you keep on running the program and you see there's a little bug. So you say that's a little bug there if you want, a little error. Kept on showing stop, and then like, okay, well, how do I get rid of that one? And then you get into this point, and then at this point, that's pretty much, that's done. I can make this now. I could just format, easy stuff now. If I really wanted to, I could just make this nice little list which says, the list is as current, Perth, Darwin, Moscow going downwards. That's easy to do. But it might be hard to do, and if it is hard to do, you can just put a comment, and you get the syntax right and kind of go through this process again. So I hope that helps. See you around.